What's going on, everyone? So, I'm kind of held off on talking about the Intel problems that were popping up over in Korea. If you are not caught up on that, essentially, these people playing Tekken were finding out that their systems were crashing and they were running into these memory issue things where things would pop up and say you have low memory, which is not related to the GPU. It's completely related to the CPU, so much so that NVIDIA came out and basically made a post on their last GeForce driver update stating it's not our fault, go after Intel. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up, if you guys are not familiar with my channel, a lot of my subs actually came from this video here, which I did a while ago, and it caused quite a lot of controversy amongst the people. There were a lot of people who like sub to the channel who were like, I have this problem, I have problems with my CPU, blah, blah, blah. And here's the thing about this. The only reason why I'm bringing it back up is a couple people reached out to me. A couple people included my name in videos such as Danny Z Reviews, um, EROCK on Tech, another dude who I've been talking to him a lot lately. He's really cool. Um, we had Brian from Tech Yes City that was talking about this. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is that these kind of weird latency issues and problems have been going back for a while now on the Intel hybrid architecture 12, 13, and 14th gen processors. And so this is something that like I'm still on a 13700K. I actually for the most part got mine as stable as possible. It involved swapping motherboards, it involved changing lots of parts, undervolting, and just spending way too much time on something that I really shouldn't have to spend that much time on. I don't care if you guys are super into undervolting or overclocking. An average user who buys a component should not have to do any of that kind of stuff. They should be able to plug it in and have a great experience out of the gate. I was having really bad experiences for a long time, 6 months to be honest, and I was replacing parts left and right. It's driving me absolutely crazy. I did replace the CPU eventually too, thinking I probably got a bum CPU. Usually I do like a lot of heavy editing. I'm not going to make this a super edited video, but I will link all of this stuff down below. This video in particular is pretty interesting because PC World is actually talking about how they had to send back two of their 13900Ks, not the KS, just the K, and they were having issues with stuttering and crashes. So something to note. But the reason why I am bringing this up again, and even though my old video that had to do with latency, just like Brian's Tech Yes City, Brian's video with latency and all that stuff, came up, I feel like they are related. And I think that they are related, and this is where it gets a little interesting because Intel now, it seems like they are trying to kind of pass off some of the blame on the motherboard manufacturers, which to some degree I actually agree with them because swapping out my Asus board actually solved quite a few problems, even with undervolting, even with all of the settings just played around with for months on end. I could go into how much time I spent playing around in that BIOS and not being able to get a consistent, stable experience out of my chip. Now, on this ASRock board that I have, not saying ASRock is any better, I have a more stable experience. And my friend who took the older Asus Z790 board that I had used an older 12th gen chip and has no issues at all. So, what I actually believe is that my chip that I got 2 times in a row, because I replaced it twice, both of them, the first one was very bad, but this second one I have is slightly better. Its stock configuration might be fine. I think I have basically kind of a bum chip. It's a bad silicone lottery binned chip, if you want to call it that. It's a Best Buy part, just an average consumer chip. I'm pretty sure I have just a chip that underperforms. And when it goes into a board that pushes it to its limits, it has issues. And to be honest, for the first couple of months that I had that setup, I mostly ran it in the stock configuration with memory and timings were tuned. I tuned that stuff on my own, but I never overclocked it. I left it at stock settings. I removed limits and set a lock at 90C in the Asus BIOS. That was the only thing I touched along with tuning the memory, and that configuration, that board was still pushing that CPU past its normal numbers. And I feel like as time was going on, I was degrading my chip. And I use my CPU a lot. I have a lot of heavy load stuff involved. Video editing is a lot heavier, especially DaVinci on the CPU, especially rendering. Um, the gaming stuff, I still game a lot too, but I was seeing a lot of stuttering and issues on the desktop. I mostly felt all the issues on the desktop, and as time had gone on, it felt like it was getting worse. Like, I remember it being different feeling than my Ryzen 3950X I had previously, on Windows 11, and I kind of blamed Windows for a while. And after doing all these things, I would go so deep into this, but I spent a long time discussing this. I can link my video down below too of how many other things I did. I had a follow-up video of why I took down this video here. But so anyways, I'm kind of going off track here. Basically what it comes down to is I think that these problems are somewhat related. I think that Intel has some bum chips, and the reason why I think people are a little bit all over the place with it, and this is just like what happened to EROCK. If you guys check out, I will link his video as well. EROCK ended up having some issues with his chip. He felt like he had a really stuttery, inconsistent experience, and he tried a whole bunch of things. And like, it's not that his chip was already bad. It's just that maybe the settings that were in his computer at the time, his board that he picked, all the settings were pushing his chip just slightly past what it's really capable of. There's the argument to way undervolt your system, but to some degree, you're losing value if you're undervolting so heavily to get a stable system. You should not have to undervolt that much. You should be able to run a at least stock setting, what the advertised speed is, which again, the manufacturers are not really advertising that correctly. They're not actually really running stock settings. Companies like Asus, they do push the boards. So in a way, I do kind of, Intel can be right in many ways. And look at what Asus did just a year ago with the what was it, the 7800 3D that was melting and burning up. Yeah, so it's just, I don't know. I personally don't have an answer. Obviously, I'm just a tiny tech channel. I do sell a lot of computers, and I go through a lot of 12th, 13th, and I actually haven't had any 14th gen processors just yet, but 12th and 13th gen, I've seen enough of them, and I can tell you that stuff like the i5 and the i3s, they really just don't have any of these problems at all. I have seen it on the i7s and i9s. I did actually have one person that ran into the same error where the memory would run out, and that was reported months back. I actually don't know what happened to that system. I'm probably gonna reach out to him today because I'm very interested. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I really just wanted to kind of make a comparison to some of these other videos. I'm gonna again link Danny Z down below. I will link EROCK. I will link. I believe Paul's Hardware had one. I'll look for his video. I will link this PC World video. I will link Gamers Nexus new video, and Brian Tech Yes City's original videos. I'll put all of those down in the description if you guys want to watch them. They're not all technically related on the same topic. One is latency and stuttering issues, which Brian and myself believe are because of the chip, and the others are just related to this new issue, except for EROCK. EROCK is having the latency issue as well. All right, that's going to do it, guys. And yeah, like and subscribe. Check out my latest video too. It's not doing too well because every time I kind of steer off the... every time I gotta do weird stuff like this, the videos just don't do well, but I like doing it, so whatever. But it's called 6 Dead GPUs. Will this debatable fix work? And yeah, it's about heating up GPUs with a heat gun. All right, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.